Welcome to the Lifting Lounge podcast. Join your hosts, Josh Parkin and Jack Buffery, as they give you the knowledge and the tools to take your physical and mental performance to the next level.
Motherfucker.
Yo, how you doing?
Yeah, I am. I'm good, man. I have, as I've just told you, I've literally just got out of the cold plunge, which isn't so cold because it's so freaking hot, but it's nice.
I've literally just got out of the shower and I'm still sweating.
Yeah.
I'm literally still sweating.
Well, in my dungeon here with no windows, it is actually surprisingly cool. I should actually do more of my workouts here as well because all my workouts have been proper sweaty when I've done them at the other gym so far, but it's all good. But anyway, before we get into that, because I keep on getting distracted, I'm going to run over today's episode. Today, we have a fit tip, which is making sure you're measuring the right things. For just a tip. There you go, Josh. I'm setting you up already. You can get a joke in your mind for that one. On Geek Corner, we're going to play a little game of red pill, blue pill. In Fit Talk, it's going to be more a mindset episode today, just about how to shift your thought process. Study time is an awesome one. I'm going to save it for the study time, but it involves Jedis. And then our hot topic of the week is why and the best ways to train 6 days a week. So if you're looking to train a bit more often, then I will tell you how to do it. Guys, if you have any topics that you want us to cover, then the Facebook group is the best place to let us know, or just reach out to us on our social media and ask us there as well. But anyway, Josh, today, what is today? What day are we on?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, isn't it? How's your Tuesday going? How was your training? Good. I'm guessing you went training. In fact, I saw you training earlier on. You were doing some gnarly, like, forearm and arm shit, which looked really cool.
Yeah, well, I got in the sea this morning, had a nice swim in the sea, then obviously worked, did some training. I only didn't have as much time today for training, so I did my shorter day, but then did my short day so fast that I was like, oh, I'll do some extra. So I did some forearm stuff because I want to start building up my forearms. So a lot of like fat grip holds, fat grip curls, and then a more like arm wrestling style rotations, and that was fun. But yeah, my forearms feel puny at the moment, so I want to just get them fucking
Your
huge.
forearms are not puny, they're a decent size.
I know.
Do you know what I think of whenever I think of forearm training and stuff like that? You know, in the old cartoons, like the Looney Tunes stuff, whenever you see a character eating like a lump of ham off of the bone, I always think of forearms like that. That's how you want the forearms, isn't it? Massive chunky motherfuckers.
Exactly that. So there, and then I've had a call, walk the dogs. Here I am.
Nice, very nice. Recording for our lovely listeners.
Yeah, what about yourself? How's your day?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. So my my wonderful partner, Kimberly. I was trying to say something else then. It was our anniversary on Saturday, and yes, I fucked up and forgot. I will come clean on the podcast, and I am in absolute. I'm not in shit with her so much anymore, but I'm in shit with myself because I'm giving myself a good telling off for forgetting. But anyway, she brought me a cold plunge, which was awesome. So I've been in it. I've just got out of it. I've done it. I've been in there in 6 o'clock in the morning, the last 2 mornings, and I've done a little bit on Sunday as well. It is Tuesday today, obviously. And at the moment, I feel like I'm kind of cheating because it is so warm. But it is cold when I first get in. My testicles still scream at me a little bit when they touch the water for the first time, but then it's okay. Like a minute ago, I was just on the phone to her whilst I was just sitting in it, chilling out. So it's obviously not cold enough at the moment, but it's probably going to naturally make it happen as the winter gets nearer and nearer. So we're beginning of September now. I've got a load of bottles of ice in the fridge as well, so I'm just going to be nice and efficient and not waste any water. I'm just going to keep the bottles frozen, chuck them in the plunge, and then when I get out, just put them back in the freezer again. So I've just got that constant ice cube thing going on as well. I've trained legs. They didn't like it. And I've had lunch. I had beef shin with some carrots, some onions, and some rice, and it was very tasty.
Nice. I had chicken, peas, and rice.
Well, that's like my staple, although I use mixed veg.
Mm.
Usually like beans, peas, and like sweet corn and stuff like that. It's nice.
Yeah, my diet essentially now is the same thing every day. So it's pretty simple. I have overnight oats in the morning, chicken, rice and peas, one meal, my mince and bean casserole mix, another meal, and then big casein shake in the evening. That's it. That's my meals.
That's nice. Yeah, I have protein shakes sometimes, but at the moment it's more because of taste than it is.
Mm.
1 second, Josh. 1 second, listeners. Sorry. Hi guys. Sorry about that. I had a brief interruption, and neither me or Josh can remember what the hell we were talking about. So
yeah, no idea, not a clue.
It must have been really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I'm probably just going to go straight into the fit tip.
Well, no, you're not. Jack. See, I have. I'm quite adept at measuring tips. I would say I'm quite adept at measuring tips. However, sometimes you know, you got to measure it for the right reason. You can't just be measuring it all the time willy-nilly. You got to measure your tip for the right reason. And I was wondering if you could help me and let me know when it was the right time to measure my tip.
For you, Josh, I'd say whenever it warms up. So today's tip, ladies and gentlemen, is it's kind of, I don't know if you could have guessed it from Josh's little intro there, but it is measuring the right thing for your goals. And this is important, especially the more you get into your training, especially if you're kind of training consistently, but you're still not like 100% dialed into why you're training and what you're training for, basically. If most people say, okay, you're training, the common thing is, okay, what do you lift? And that's usually what weight do you lift and stuff like that, which is perfect. If you're lifting for strength, then you're going to want to measure that. But if you're measuring for other things, it's something to do with like performance or even for bodybuilding and aesthetics, like any type of sport, you don't really want to measure it purely just by strength. You want to be measuring it by the intensity you can put that muscle through, by maybe more reps instead of just the weight, maybe by the exercise itself, what kind of exercise and how much load you're putting in through the week. So basically, what I'm saying is, unless you're training for strength, there is a lot more stuff that you can be measuring for your desired outcome. So just make sure you're measuring the appropriate thing.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I like sometimes when writing a plan, not to designate a specific amount of reps, but designate a range of reps. Mm-hmm. So anywhere from like 10 to 20, for instance. And then instead of looking at increasing the weight each week, but looking at, oh, look, you did 2 more reps than you did last week. That is progress. That is progressive overload. So not always looking at weight is such a good thing. However, when we're doing strength, especially working on percentages of those lifts, making sure that we're running off percentages and then really focusing on the weight is important. So actually measuring those things and having an idea of that. We had a client actually this week who's going on a bit of a transformation phase, a bit of a fat loss phase. And I said, and she was worried about how we're going to approach it and this, that, and the other. And I said, look, if we measure everything correctly, then there's nothing really we can do wrong. We just have to take the data and then act upon that data rather than just like hitting and hoping for the best. So it comes the same in, that's what she said, in fat loss, in not just in all different aspects of health and fitness, not just your training. Like the more you measure stuff, if you want to lose weight, then yeah, you need to be weighing. Maybe you want to be measuring all this, that, and the other. If you don't want to lose weight, You want to be maintaining. Maybe you still want to be weighing, but you might not need to measure. You might not need to do this, that, and the other. So having data helps you get better results.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. And sometimes there are more than one variable to measure. So make sure you're measuring as much as what you feel you can handle, because some people go too overboard with measuring sometimes you don't need to measure every single little metric. But if you think it's going to be useful and it's well within your capability of measuring, then measure it, and the more little tweaks you can make, the more better results you're going to get as time goes on.
Well, that's the other thing about it, isn't it, is don't just measure every, like, you get people with all the watches, all these things. They've got a Whoop, they've got a heart rate monitor, they're tracking everything, and there's no zero point in measuring anything unless you're going to do something with the information. So if you're not going to act upon the information, if the sleep's saying, oh, actually, you're not getting optimal sleep, but you're not changing anything about your life, then what is the point in you measuring it? It's actually just creating a stressor for you. So unless you're going to act upon the data, don't fucking record the data.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And especially if you're going to get bogged down by it, because you can get paralysis by analysis sometimes. You'll be measuring so much data, you'll be like, fuck, what does this mean? What can I do? So just measure, pick one thing to start measuring, and then if you need to add something else, measure it from there. What I'm going to do now, Josh, is go on to Geek Corner. I'm going to leave the measuring things because people can work out what they need to measure. But Geek Corner, I've got a fun little game, okay?
Woo woo.
This is Red Pill, Blue Pill. For anyone who doesn't know that, because it's quite an old film now, which makes me feel just incredibly old, it is a thing to the Matrix. So Neo either picks the red pill or the blue pill. So what I'm going to give you some category. Well, I'm going to give you some options, and you have to pick red pill, blue pill. Okay. And audience listeners, you can play along with this at home, because this is all about what do you keep in this world. All right. So first of all is red pill, Zelda, blue pill, Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls.
Motherfucker. Get out. Can't believe you're my fucking co-host. What the fuck?
Yep, 100%. You should have known that. You should have known that.
Yeah, I had a worrying feeling it'd be, and that's like the annoying thing is my missus would say the same as well. Oh,
yeah.
God.
So we got like 11 years of gameplay out of Skyrim.
Yeah, so
you're not gonna get that out of Tears of the Kingdom. I'm sorry.
Fuck you. I still play Ocarina of Time, man, and that's 25 years old. So
that's because you don't like change.
It is for nostalgia, to be fair. Okay, all right, cool. Next, DC red pill, Marvel blue pill.
Marvel, because I actually don't know that much about DC. I've only read Marvel comics. I've never read DC comics. Yeah, I'd have my knowledge on DC isn't that big. Although I say that, do you know what? I should probably pick DC because I don't know much about it. No, Marvel. I'll stick with Marvel.
Interesting. Who's your favorite superhero?
Oh man, it changes. It used to be Nightcrawler from the X-Men. You know, the blue guy. He was my favorite.
Mine was Gambit for a while. I liked Gambit. If you're talking X-Men.
Yeah. Then from him. It was Wolverine at one point. I've always liked Wolverine. And actually, I preferred like the comic version of Wolverine. Thor in the comics is fucking wicked. Thor in the comics is so cool, and I think he's probably my favorite at the moment.
See, now this is where my problem is. So far, by the way, I am Zelda. My problem with the DC Marvel thing, though, is I like Marvel collectively. However, I think I prefer Batman over most of the others because Batman's just cool as fuck. So yeah, this is where I struggle. But if I had to go, ultimately, I would go Marvel. But I think Batman, as I've got older, I think Batman has become my favorite superhero just in a different ways portrayed, especially after the Christopher Nolan trilogy. Like that was, again, I don't know comics very well, so I'm judging mainly by films.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? Is that Marvel doesn't have anything really that matches Batman in terms of adult entertainment.
No, not yet.
It's like Marvel's still like slightly, it's like kiddie. It's like reading teen fiction. They don't have anything like dark and gritty like Batman. Well, maybe Daredevil when it was on Netflix and The Punisher on Netflix, but it's still not at the same kind of level.
Oh, to be fair, I did actually really like Daredevil, and that was surprisingly brutal. And the Punisher. Oh yeah, okay. No, do you know what? I didn't think of them. Now you've brought them into the equation. Yeah, it's actually gone to Marvel because I probably watched the Punisher TV series like 2 or 3 times because I love it so much.
So
I
good.
think it's great. Yeah,
So good.
Okay. So so far we've got 2 blue pills from you. We've got Elder Scrolls and Marvel. Next one, red pill, Star Wars. Blue pill, Star Trek.
No, red pill, Star Wars.
Okay, cool. Do you know anything about Star Trek at all?
Yeah, so see, this is the problem, is I don't know massive amounts of Star Trek. I've never really watched the TV series. I've watched the recent movies with what's he called?
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine, yeah, that's it. And the guy from Heroes as Spock.
It was a great TV program. Heroes.
Yeah, Heroes. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And so that's all I've watched. And I've never really watched any of the series. So I think the series, to be honest, for myself, was a little bit, it's probably more your era than my era in terms of when it was coming out. So it's a bit before me.
To be fair, it's way before me. I mean, it's 60s. So yeah, Star Trek is 60s, so it's even before Star Wars, I believe. So yeah, it's that is a hard one. But then I think it's seen a resurgence. I mean, I've got Paramount Plus. I'd hardly ever watch it, to be fair, but there's a load of Star Trek stuff coming out on that. Like there's 2 or 3 series at the moment, so it's obviously still very popular.
And also Star Wars had a resurgence when I was younger with the prequels. So I've always been way into Star Wars comparatively to Star Trek.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on Star Wars on that one as well. Okay, next one. I think I know which one you're going to do for this, but for me, it's very sad to lose the opposite one. So red pill is Harry Potter, blue pill is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that is sad. Because it's obviously I'm going to pick Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed Lord of the Rings. And I grew up I grew up watching Harry Potter, but I grew up like loving Lord of the Rings. And I was like enacting it in the woods with a bow that I'd made. It was Lord of the Rings. Yeah. But yeah, I do enjoy Harry Potter. Just because it is good, it's just good light entertainment when you want it.
And it's an amazing escapism because what a world to grow up in or to live in, like that Harry Potter wizarding world. We've talked about this before, but if I could live in any kind of world, it would be the wizarding world. Like, because just going into that tent and having it the size of a house and just like easily transporting somewhere and stuff like that. It is what it's supposed to be. It's magical, man. And it is, it's amazing. But I'd be the same. I'd be Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, definitely. I hope that, I mean, it's interesting because the Lord of the Rings series that came out recently, loads of people are hating on it. I quite enjoyed it. And I understand why people don't like it as much and don't like kind of the main actress or the main character, Galadriel, because she's a bit moody and whatnot. But I quite enjoyed it either way. And maybe it was just the nostalgic part of me that enjoyed it rather than actually enjoying the storyline. But I hope that it like keeps resurgence and keeps doing well because I just want to see more of it. I want to see more of that world,
I think they put too much money into it now not to carry on with it. Like, I think it's the most expensive TV series ever made, and they're gonna want to see if they can bring it back around. So, okay, next one. This is a hard one for me. This is a really hard one for me because I love them both a lot, and I'm not sure which of the next 2 are hard. Red pill, John Wick. Blue pill, Jason Bourne.
Oh, fuck. That is hard. Do you know what? I haven't watched the Bournes in ages, and I really want to watch them again.
I've got them on Blu. You haven't got a Blu-ray player, have you?
No, those first 3 were just fucking awesome. I loved them so much. The scene I remember the most is the scene in the bathroom, the fight scene in the bathroom. He's in the hotel apartment and they go into the hotel apartment. Is it somebody crashes through the window or he
That's
crashes?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he puts a
Yeah.
pen in the back of his hand and he like pulls it out. Yeah. That's great.
So, man, it's so like brutal. But John Wick has so many moments in it, like that moment in that hotel room fight. But it's got so many of those where the whole time, like I laugh more in John Wick than I do in most comedy movies because the moments are so fucking ridiculous. It just brings so much entertainment because it's so ridiculous, and I find it hilarious. Fuck. But does that include, for instance, like future series as well? Are we saying just the movies or like the whole universe?
Just the whole universe.
Do you know what? If that's the case, I think I would keep John Wick because I'm more excited about the series coming out with them than I am about the Bourne series they've done after Bourne.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go the opposite on that. I'm going to go Bourne because I prefer the gritty realism of Bourne. And for me, the Bourne Supremacy, which is the second one, is probably one of my favorite films. I fucking love that film so much. It is just really good. It was when they brought in a new director, Paul Greengrass. I think Len Wiseman done the first. Not Len Wiseman. He's a dance guy, isn't he? I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, I really liked the first one, but the second one when they brought in Paul Greengrass, it was just good. The shaky cam footage and stuff like that. I just thought, I loved that. I watched it so many times when I was younger.
I mean, that's made me wanna. I'm gonna go back and watch them now. Rachel's away for a week from Friday, so I'm gonna just stick him on and watch them. I think that's a great idea.
Do it. It's such good films. Okay, last one, and this is probably the hardest one. One because of, I wouldn't say we're patriotic to our country, but there's certain things that we like about being English, and the other one just because it kicks ass. So, red pill, James Bond; blue pill, Mission Impossible.
See, fuck.
This is probably the hardest one, I reckon.
Do you know what though? I think the last James Bond movie is better than the last Mission Impossible movie that just came out.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree on that one. But the thing is, without giving too much away, I think we're going to end up judging the last Mission Impossible film by the next Mission Impossible film because they're literally one movie. So I can't make that call yet. But when you think of the series as a whole,
the thing is, James Bond's got some duds in it. James Bond's got some absolute.
But there's 23
duds.
of them, so it's going to.
And like some of the old ones, I'm not a massive fan of. And I'm worried about where it's going to go next, and I'm worried they're potentially going to absolutely ruin it next. However, I think it's like the same reason you picked Bourne. I think I prefer it's a little bit more gritty realism comparatively to Mission Impossible, where it's a bit like Mission Impossible is just fucking mental.
Yeah.
Oh, you fuck. I'm going to say Mission Impossible.
Oh wow! Okay, you've turned that around right at the end. Then
I did right at the end. Just changed. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So I am going to go James Bond purely because I am basing this only off the Daniel Craig era as well.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I do really like. I like Goldeneye. That was my James Bond film when I was growing up. That got me excited about spy films. And then the first Mission Impossible. I love the Mission Impossibles, but when I'm taking into consideration Daniel Craig's story arc of the last 5 films, I am picking James Bond over Mission Impossible at the moment. Ask me again in about 2 or 3 years when we find out what's happening with the Mission Impossible franchise, whether Tom Cruise will come back, whether it will have spin-offs, whether something like that will happen, and what happens with the James Bond universe as well. That answer could possibly change.
Also, Quantum of Solace was shit.
It was. I tell you what, though, I watched that again last year or so, and I hardly ever watched that one. And it's definitely not a great film. It's not a great Bond film, but it's an okay film. Um, it's just not as it's nowhere near as good as the others.
Mm.
Right. So, Josh, I have put. Oh
Yeah, I can
God, what have I
see.
just
Yeah,
done? I've actually just lost the rest of the episode as well. So let me put
I
that back
saw
in
it.
there.
I've got three blue pills, 2 red pills.
Yeah. So I'll get rid of that again in a second. So you can see what you've got. So just as a
Mhm.
recap for the audience, the red pills were Zelda, DC, Star Wars, Harry Potter, John Wick, and James Bond. The blue pills were the Elder Scrolls, which is Skyrim, by the way, and Oblivion and stuff like
Mm.
that. Elder Scrolls, Marvel, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, Jason Bourne, and Mission Impossible. So with Zelda and Elder Scrolls, Josh picked Elder Scrolls. I picked Zelda. For DC and Marvel, Josh picked Marvel. We both picked Marvel, actually. I did in the end. With Star Wars and Star Trek, Josh picked Star Wars with, and so did I, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. We both picked Lord of the Rings. John Wick and Jason Bourne. Josh picked John Wick. I picked Jason Bourne. James Bond and Mission Impossible. Josh picked Mission Impossible. I picked James Bond. My question to you, Josh, you only get to take one of those pills, and that includes both of those lists. So, which out of those lists do you keep if you have to
Mhm.
take one pill to keep all of
Oh,
those things?
fucking asshole! Jesus Christ. Um, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm now looking ahead and like, what am I most excited for in the future over what am I enjoying the moment now? I'm currently stuck. This is going to surprise you. I'm stuck between two. Oh no, I'm not. I'm stuck between three. I'm stuck between three. I'm stuck between Elder Scrolls, Lord of the Rings, and John Wick. Um, Elder Scrolls because I really want to play the new game when it comes out. Um,
It's
Lord of
got
the
a long
Rings.
wait.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. I wasn't gonna pick until I remembered they're making an open world RPG for Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, John Wick because I'm actually kind of excited about the new series they're gonna do, and I really enjoy the movies. But I think I'm gonna have to go Lord of the Rings. I think just because of the potential it has for just everything.
Okay,
It's got
so you're
so
going
much
blue
potential.
pill. You're going blue pill.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm going red. So believe it or not. So yeah. So Josh has picked Elder Scrolls, Marvel,
Mm.
Star Trek, Lord of the Rings. Do you like the way I just left hung on Star Trek a bit then? Lord of the Rings, Jason Bourne, and Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
I've
Yeah.
gone for Zelda, DC because I'm not going to lie, I'm more excited about what the future of DC is than Marvel at the moment.
Yeah.
Star Wars, Harry Potter. It sucks to get rid of Lord of the Rings, but they're making a new Harry Potter series, and I think there's
Mm-hmm.
possibility there for other series. I've gone for John Wick and I've gone for James Bond. So it's interesting. That
Yeah.
is, yeah, that is a
Yeah.
hard choice. It's a hard choice, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was our little game of red pill, blue pill. It could return
I
with other
liked it.
things. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. That's
Um,
great.
Right, guys, let's move on. So today's Fit Talk, this is going to be a little bit about mindset, okay? Um, and we mentioned this on an episode a few episodes back. I can't remember what episode, but basically, this could have been a fit tip, but I like the idea of it being in a fit talk. And when you're working out, it's really handy to think of it, to frame it in your head as it's great when you think today I get to instead of today I have to.
Mm.
Okay. And
Mm.
this is really, really important for those who struggle to get workouts in because they're not prioritizing it. Whereas if you're, let's say, going home to watch a TV program because you can't wait to see the next episode, the last one left on a cliffhanger, then you're prioritizing that kind of hour over the hour of working out because you get to watch that TV program. You don't have to watch that TV program. I want you to flip that on its head and think about that with working out. Yeah, the workouts are challenging. Yeah, they can suck. But if you can think, I have got a able body to be able to do this workout, I get to be able to do this. I get to be able to find time to have this. I live a life of freedom where I can get this done, even if it's 15 minutes. it's going to make it so much better and easier to try to fit into your everyday life than saying, oh God, I've got to do this at some point.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we spoke about this, and I was talking to Rachel about this the other day, and saying that how each day now, because I'm training 6 days a week, and each day now that I train, that is basically at the moment, because we're quite busy, is my only time each day that is solely dedicated to myself, where I'm solely dedicating this time to myself, my well-being, my mental whatever, me or just me. And that's when you think of it like that, it's like, actually, this is great. This is just about me and nothing else. This is not about anyone else. This hour that I've got in this training period is just about me. And I think when people start opening their mind to that prospect, rather than going, oh fuck, I've got to train, I've got to exercise, it's actually, no, you are taking that opportunity, you're taking that time to work on yourself and to better yourself and to feel better and to do something for you and future you, instead of forcing yourself to have to do something that might be healthy.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's the best way to look at it. And a lot of people sometimes feel guilty. I see this a lot with mums, to be honest. A lot of mums will feel guilty about taking the time for themselves. But I tell you what, after it's just been summer holidays here in the UK, and it's literally, I think kids are going back to school this week. By the time this is released, I think it might be a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it's amazing how many mums I've spoken to in the last couple of weeks saying, I can't wait to get back to my normal routine in September. And that's kind of almost good in a way, because it shows you that they've started to appreciate that journey that they take for themselves, that hour that they come to work out, not just from so for some of them, sometimes it's the social aspect as well. It's not just the working out aspect, and that's such a great mix, having the social and fitness aspect both tied in together, because they get to have the hour for themselves where they can communicate with other people like them, and it's a good moment to have. So just that ability to be able to flip things on its head and move from, oh man, I've got to do this, to, oh man, I get to do this today. That's really cool. I can't wait. Have you muted yourself?
Sorry. I think that I had muted myself. It's changed for me in this past couple of weeks and looking at training like that, and like, this is my time, and I'm enjoying it so much, because when I've changed my perspective of it, and it's great. It's absolutely great. Training just becomes fun now.
Yeah, it really is fun. Sorry, one of my lights has just gone out. I don't think it makes a difference though.
No.
Yeah, it is good. I'm loving every second of it at the moment. I mean, apart from the leg days, but I'm getting them done anyway, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, I can do this, so I'm just going to go do it, and that's the best thing. And here's the thing: like, even doing what we do, where we do this professionally, at the end of a session that I don't like, I'm still never regret it. I'm always glad I've done it. That's the main thing, I think. So everybody has that sense of achievement afterwards, so it's good. Okay, let's go on to a bit of study time next. Ooh. So this could have been in Geek Corner, to be honest, but this is the title is Inside the Cutting Edge Neuroscience That Could Create Real Life Star Wars Jedis. You can understand why I got fucking interested about this. So I'm going to read through this article. It's only a short one. So the Force is an energy that lets you control people's minds and make things float. And it's a lot more real than you'd think. Ooh. This is by Stephen Kelly. This is published August the 25th, and it is in BBC Science Focus. In Star Wars A New Hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi describes the Force as an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. It's a more poetic explanation than the one in Star Wars The Phantom Menace, which suggests that every Jedi has a bad case of worms, which is pretty true. Or to be more precise, that they get their powers from microscopic cellular beings called midichlorians. The idea that a parasite living in a creature can change or determine the way the host behaves is a very real thing, says Patrick Johnson, author of The Physics of Star Wars, which it is. We've discussed this before when it came to The Last of Us as well. And in theory, that small creature could give the host the ability to do things that they might not otherwise be able to do. A theory that makes more sense to Johnson, though, is that the Force represents some kind of sophisticated control of electromagnetic fields. Who do you think of? Because my mind doesn't go to Star Wars when I think of that.
You're thinking of like a sophisticated control of you're thinking of Magneto.
Yes, I am. Yeah. Who would still be cool because he could pretty much be a Jedi. The fundamental basis of electromagnetic fields is that everything has a charge, such as protons and electrons. That everything that has a charge, such as protons and electrons, creates an electromagnetic field around it, says Johnson. And depending on how these particles interact, they can either attract or repel one another. This could explain how Jedi, such as Ahsoka Tano, the hero of the new series Star Wars Ahsoka, are able to move objects around, says Johnson. So, for instance, if I'm hanging upside down in an ice cave on Hoth and I need my lightsaber, in theory, I could make my hand very positively charged to attract the electrons on one side of the lightsaber and pull it towards me. But even if this were possible, it would also require you to be able to focus on a specific object. Otherwise, you would end up attracting all kinds of things, says Johnson. One of the most powerful elements of the Force, however, is how it can be used by the Jedi to control others' minds. How do electromagnetic fields play into that? In terms of Jedi mind tricks, our brains have neurons that communicate with one another using electrical signals. Theoretically, a Jedi with knowledge of brain chemistry could exert very precise electromagnetic fields to cause certain neurons to fire or not. Let's say the thought, this is the droid I'm looking for, is neuron 1, and this is not the droid I'm looking for, is neuron 2. If I could stop neuron 1 from firing and cause neuron 2 to fire instead, that would then create the thought inside of your head. Johnson is keen to stress that this kind of thought control is highly improbable. There are 86 billion neurons in the human brain, and it would be very difficult to execute such precise manipulation of individual neurons or to figure out what neurons you would need to control. It would require you to map a person's brain to a level that we're currently not capable of. Even so, that doesn't mean that scientists aren't trying. Johnson references a 2008 study in which researchers asked participants to hit a button with either their right or left hand while recording their brain activity. The researchers were able to figure out what the brain activity would look like just prior to the subjects pressing the button with their left hand versus their right, says Johnson. Even stranger, they were able to use this activity to predict which hand was going to be used up to 7 seconds before the person made their choice. So maybe there's something to the whole midi-chlorian thing after all.
Well, yeah, do you know what? Go on.
No, go
on. I reckon in terms of like mind stuff, I reckon it would be less about controlling specific actions and more about manipulating emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's a book series that I've got called the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. It's a really good series where the magic system in that is some people have the ability to consume like a specific metal, and some people only can consume certain metals, and it gives them the certain ability to do something. Some of it's like telekinesis, like push-pull. Some of it is like manipulating the mind, and some can like reduce emotions, some can raise emotions, essentially, and that kind of makes you think that how this is going. So maybe you go, I'm going to be able to dampen the emotions of joy and something else along the same spectrum. So then what that happens is that the opposite emotions rise to the surface, you know, or I can encourage emotions of joy, etc., or skepticism or whatever it is, and that would influence people in a way. I reckon that would be more plausible than anything else.
So this sort of stuff, especially when it comes to, yeah, I agree with you on that one. When it comes to electromagnetism and stuff like that, I think the influence side of things is definitely where not necessarily giving a definitive yes or no, this is the droid versus this isn't a droid. I think it's more of a suggestion. For instance, we've talked about this before, probably on the podcast, but definitely in just in general chat about things like Neuralink. And if marketers ever get a hold of Neuralink, it's probably going to be a case of let's just subtly put like the smell of KFC in their brain to make them crave a KFC, or you know what I mean, stuff like that, or like in um what was the film Fight Club, where they show a snippet of porn, like the flash second of it, so you don't know you've seen it. When they do that, and like they'll just do like a flash snippet of something in your mind, in your mind's eye, to make you start wanting that thing. I think that is kind of more what could happen. That kind of just pushing things into the brain to kind of suggest and manipulate people. Have you ever seen a mentalist do what they do, like with that real subtle manipulation?
Yeah.
So that stuff is insane, and I could see that being done almost electronically through something like a Neuralink as well. But in terms of the being able to attract things to your hand, oh man, that would be the best thing in the world, wouldn't it?
That, mate, telekinesis by far is going to be the best. What's that movie? You watched that movie, Chronicle? Is it Chronicle where
I
they?
love Chronicle, man. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That is such a good film.
Yeah, where they just randomly get that power and then like it starts getting stronger. Oh, man, I wish that was me. Just finds that power.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was having this debate with someone about this film, a little bit of a tangent. Not a debate, but it was a conversation I was part of on a Facebook group. And they were saying, oh, I'd love to see a sequel for that film. And I was like, at the time, I would have loved to have seen a sequel for that film, but now that film is behind us. I'm glad we didn't, because I think it would have tainted what the original was, because it was such. I really enjoyed that film. That was like one of the first Michael B. Jordan films, I think. But it was And what's his name? The guy who became the Goblin in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films. He was in it as well. It was. That is such a good film. Again, it's that shaky can kind of found footage type thing as well. So that was good. I love it.
It was the same time as that Alien movie.
Cloverfield?
Yeah. It was the same time as that, wasn't it?
I've never seen them.
I've only seen the first one.
Have you? I think there's like 3 or 4 out now, and they're supposed to be quite good. I might give them a shot at some point. Anyway, real life Jedis. Imagine that. I mean, I would 100% take whatever I need to take to become a Jedi, as long as I'm not being manipulated in my brain at the same time. It'd be good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm involved. I'm in. Let's do it.
Let's become Jedis. Okay, cool. Right, guys. It is time to move on to the hot topic. Now, today's hot topic is the best ways to train 6 days a week. But before I go into the results of drivers and the actions, I'm just going to have a little talk about why would you train 6 days a week. Now, there's several reasons for this. I am currently training 6 days a week. Josh, I think you're doing 5 or 6 as well, aren't you? Yep, Josh is also training 6 days a week. We're doing completely different programs. I don't even fully know what you're doing. I don't think you fully know what I'm doing. You've got a bit of a rough idea. But it is, why would you want to train 6 days a week? And I think it depends on your goals. It depends on how much time you have. But the reason I am training 6 days a week at the moment is because the consistency keeps me more accountable. So the fact I know I've got to do something pretty much every day apart from Sunday means that I can't get to Wednesday and think, you know what, I'm just going to shove this work out to tomorrow and get it done then, because I'm a busy boy today. No, fuck that. I'm committing to doing it 6 days a week. That's why it helps me out quite a lot. But there's many reasons why. If you're doing like bodybuilding or something like that, you can definitely get 6 days. It's definitely beneficial to get 6 days a week for hitting different muscle groups. I would say, and Josh, I think this might be something that we actually disagree on a little bit. I would personally say that for the average person, a 3-day a week, and you're not going to strongly disagree. It's just I know we've talked about this before. The average person, a 3-day a week full body program is probably the best route, because most people are busy. They don't have access to the gyms like, say, myself and Josh would. you're going to get plenty of results in 3 days, in 3 hours a week, doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and your recovery is going to be on point as well. Just, I think it fits into most people's lifestyle. But for those who do want it, just for the accountability or just because they want to push themselves a little bit harder, then this is how we're going to talk today about how 6 days a week can be good. Do you want to add anything before going to that?
Yeah. So the 6 days, I think I agree with that actually in terms of it does keep me consistent training 6 days a week. There's no room for like not doing it. You can't make an excuse to not do it. And if I do not do it, I have to train twice in one day. So that's how I make up for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially it doesn't give you an option, which is good sometimes if you're the sort of person that once given an option will quite easily just sack it off and leave it till the end of the week. You know quite a few people will leave their training till the end of the week because I'm too busy and then end up not doing it. When actually when you're doing 6 days a week, you can't leave it to the fucking end of the week because it's every day of the bloody week basically, apart from one. I also find that results wise, as long as I'm not going overboard each session, I definitely feel like I get better results out of it. I definitely feel like my exponentially increases. On the 3 days a week thing, I think 3 days is great. I've no issue with that. What I would say, and I think what I would say is most of the time I tell people 4, and only because I definitely think that 4 days, there is quite a big difference between 4 days and 3 days of training. And I prefer to try and have people training more than they're not in the week, just because I feel like that cements it more into their lifestyle. But I mean, as you said, if they can only get 3 in and that's it without causing too much stress, then fine, whatever. Yeah, you do you.
Yeah, I think my belief around the whole 3 day thing is I think if you're not yeah, and I agree with you, Josh. Like, to be honest, most of the times, more often than not, 4 days a week will be better than 3. I just think with 3, it gives you optimal time for recovery because people who do 4, it's usually going to be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday because they want the weekends free. And I think some people can overtrain, then they get stressed, then they just end up fucking it off altogether, which is, for me, that's why I usually suggest people start with 3. But yeah, like you say, 4 is good. And then, yeah, I think after 4, you get diminishing returns, not massively diminishing at all, but your returns aren't as great as the initial 4 days. So I'm not saying they negatively affect you. They still very positively affect you. But after 4 days a week, it's if you've got a scale of 100%, then you're still going to end up with like a way bigger number by the end of the week, but not each workout is 100%. Does that make sense? I think I'm explaining that kind of right.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I completely understand. What it's all dependent on the person, right?
Yeah.
So I saw a good video by Tom Platt the other day, who's the guy who's like fucking got massive legs and talks about leg training and how much he loves it. And he was saying that he tried to keep up with Arnold, who was training like twice a day, 6 days a week, and he just couldn't do it. And he found that he's actually losing gains. And then he found that when he only trained 3 to 4 sessions a week, but hit it hard and then had good rest days in between, he just blew up and he did really well. So it all depends on the individual. And some people can fucking do it all the time. Some people can't. It just is what it is.
And when we say the individual, we're not just talking about genetically here. We're also talking about stressors, lifestyle, work, kids, family. All of this stuff comes in. But anyway, that is our thoughts around training 6 days a week. If you can fit it in and you think it helps you be consistent, then that's fine. And there are ways to do it, even if you can't quite recover. You can go and do other stuff, which we're going to cover in a minute. So the results that I'm after is basically show you the best way to create a 6-day-a-week program for you. We're going to go over 5 options here. There are many more, but we're just going to go over 5 on this one. The drivers are, whilst it's not necessary to train 6 days a week, sometimes momentum helps with consistency, and we want you to do it properly at the end of the day. And the actions are, I'm going to tell you about the best splits for training 6 days a week, depending on your lifestyle. So what I do, this is number 1, is push, legs, pull times 2. So on a Monday and a Thursday, I will do a push session, which is usually shoulders and chest and triceps. On the Tuesday and the Friday, I'll be doing legs. Today's a Tuesday, so I've done legs today. On the Wednesday and the Saturday, I'll be doing a pull session, which is usually back and biceps. So I'm hitting that twice a week. Hitting muscle groups twice a week should be a given most work for most splits anyway. So at the moment, I do it. The days are different. So both my push days are different, both my leg days are different, both my pull days are different. So I've got 6 different days of working out. It has to be programmed with quite intense consideration because you also don't want to mitigate the benefits of novel stimulus, but you still want to use them as much as possible as well. So you've got to change those up. But yeah, number one, push, legs, pull times 2.
And this is the one thing you'll find with 6 days a week is that one of the best ways to get results is to be able to train each individual body part twice a week. And it's easier to do that with 6 days a week sessions without having to do like fucking really long sessions, you know? So that's what's so good about that. And push legs pull or push pull legs or whatever way around you do, it doesn't really matter. That allows you to hit everything twice.
Yeah, which is perfect. It is really good. So the next one is push pull legs, but with cardio and mobility days as well. So let's say you'll do, and I'm not overly fussed about this, although I do know some people just like getting legs done in one session. But like we just discussed, that's not necessarily optimal doing push pull legs just in one day. But push pull legs with cardio and mobility days. So maybe you do push one day and then you do a little bit of cardio and mobility the next day, then pull the day after that, then cardio mobility, then legs, and then cardio and mobility again.
Yep, great. I mean, if it's all goal dependent. If you are needing to get your cardio in, you're needing to be a bit more mobile, then adding extra days in to be able to do that is 100% a thing you should be doing.
Yeah. And it's a good way, especially for people, I think, who work in very, very high stress jobs, but they want to get in the gym, even though they know that that extra added stress isn't good for them. This still allows people to go into the gym and not add too much extra stress instead they just get a little bit of self-care. So maybe doing, instead of a fucking horrible hit session, maybe they can do a little bit of low intensity cardio plus some mobility. And it just allows for that consistency of 6 days a week without breaking the body every time you go to the gym. Next is going to be the same sort of split, but full body with cardio mobility days. And this is how I used to train a couple of years ago with full body. So when I was doing 5x5, and I got amazing results doing 5x5 in terms of strength and just strength and just my form just got so good on all the lifts on that. But I would do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on the it'd be an A split. So on week 1 it'd be ABA, on week 2 it'd be BAB, 2 workouts, and you just alternate between the two. So you are essentially hitting within any 7-day period, you're hitting your muscle groups twice a week, which actually works really well. But then on my off days, I would do my cardio and mobility days then. And that, for most people, is going to get you pretty much 90% of your results if you wanted to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, full bodies are great. I think people underestimate how good full bodies are. I definitely recommend doing full body sessions for people. Yeah, and if you're, like you said, if you're wanting to get stronger, doing that kind of 5x5 style, 100% go for it.
Yep. And it doesn't just have to be limited to 5x5. You could do whatever you want on that one. But as long as you're doing a full body workout and not skipping legs each time you go, then you're going to get great results through that no matter what. Number 4 is chest, back, legs, shoulders, arms, legs. So with this is like a standard kind of like bro split type thing on this one. It doesn't have to be in this order. This is just the way I wrote it down, but it's basically splitting the body part into different parts, splitting the body into different parts. So you're hitting the chest on day 1, back on day 2, legs on day 3, shoulders on day 4, arms on day 5, legs on day 6. So you could put legs in between the shoulders and arms again, actually, to make that make a bit more sense. But most of that, you're probably going to inadvertently hit each muscle group twice on that as well. So for instance, with chest, if you could probably hit a little bit, so sorry, on your arms day, you could probably hit some chest and back in that as well by doing pull-ups and weighted dips, etc. In shoulders, you could actually probably hit a bit of chest in that one as well by doing different types of flies. And legs you're hitting twice anyway. So this actually does cover the twice a week basis if it is programmed intelligently on that one.
I actually ran this style of plan with Sam for his last phase he's just done.
Oh, nice.
And because he was just going through a volume phase, just trying to build some mass, and it's made a massive difference. It's actually done really well with him. I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go old school, just try this, see how he gets on. Loads of volume on each muscle group each day, and yeah, it's made a ton of difference.
Yeah, it's really good as well. And this is like you'll see this in standard like bodybuilding programs quite a lot, and it is a really good way to add mass. Again, it has got to be programmed. It has got to be programmed very well to make it work properly, but you get some phenomenal results. This is also one of the ones that bodybuilders who are using steroids and stuff will use quite a lot because they can push themselves so hard on these particular days that they get enough volume that basically covers the same as twice a week. So yeah, it is quite popular on that. Now, the last one I've got here is a bit of a hybrid one. And that is first 3 days of strength. And then, so you might be doing strength on different lifts for day 1, 2, and 3. And then for the second half of the week, you move a bit more into hypertrophy and endurance. And Josh, it was actually from one of your episodes when you were speaking about, what's his name? Viada? Is it Alex Viada who does it?
Yeah, Alex Viada. Yeah.
That's where this one came from. So I haven't actually tried this yet. However, I am going to be working with a client who starts a phase very similar to this in about 4 weeks' time. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
Nice. That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. I mean, this, if you want to go back to our hybrid training episode to hear all about that, but that's great. Yeah. Start of the week, heavy lifts, end of the week, endurance style training, hypertrophy, all that sort of stuff, and that's going to help. Yeah, that's a really good way of splitting out. It's very different styles, different ends of the week. It's good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out, to be honest. And so just as and Josh, I want to speak to you about your training in a minute as well, because I've already gone through what I'm doing. With this client I'm programming this for, I don't know if he listens to the podcast actually, but if you do, Sam, this is what you're getting over the next 12 weeks. In the first phase, it's going to be 6 days a week, and it's going to be like a push-pull legs, but it's going to be, because he wants to work on strength and mass at the same time. So it's going to be reverse pyramids. It's going to be starting off high reps, ending up on low reps. So starting off hypertrophy, working down the strength. And then that'll be phase 1. And then phase 2 is going to be this kind of style. So it will be working on strength at the beginning and end of the week and hypertrophy on the second half of the week. I'm really looking forward to seeing what results he gets on that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So, Josh, what does your 6 days a week look like at the moment?
So mine at the moment, I'm actually, I'm essentially planning it off like the Renaissance periodization style of hypertrophy, where it's you look at sets per muscle group per week, and so my days are kind of full body, but I have like a bigger muscle group at the start of the workout, and at the end of the workout, some more of the like auxiliary muscle groups, I guess. There's the smaller muscle groups like shoulders or arms or whatever, or calves, whatever. But each muscle group, I'm essentially throughout the weeks, they're building up in sets. And then on week 4, I hit maximum sets, and then I go into a deload, and then I'm doing it all again. But my 6 days at the moment are basically full body. They're basically full body, but there is more of a lean into like whether it's a push day or a pull day or a whatever. but yeah, it's all hypertrophy and focused on increasing sets throughout the weeks. So yeah, it's
Nice.
pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I am enjoying it as well. I'm not sure 100% what I'm doing. So I've got another what week am I on this? Week 1, 7. I've got another 7 weeks. So I've got 3 weeks left of the phase that I'm on now, which is like 8 to 12 reps. Then I'm going for 12 to 15 reps, maybe more. And for the next phase. And then yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm doing after that. We'll see. But
Yeah, I really want to get into like grip training. I think I wish you could tell by earlier. I want to give it a go, see how it goes. I'm gonna try and play with programming for that as we go into as I go after this plan.
so just for the listener, Josh has been working on grip training. Now earlier on, he was training at the gym where we both work, and I looked over and I could just see him very red faced and vibrating. I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Because I couldn't see what he was doing at the time. There was someone standing in front of what his hands were doing. Sounds weird, but yeah, he was he was holding on to a couple of really light kettlebells actually with no, he's holding on to a couple of heavy kettlebells with the fat grips on. And for anyone who hasn't used fat grips before, whatever lift you're doing where you have to grip a bar, so not necessarily like a barbell squat, although it still would make that more difficult. But anything where you're lifting the bar up and it's not on your back, fat grips make it that much harder because your grip strength, your finger strength has to clench the bar that much harder because they widen it to about 3-inch diameter instead of I guess normal bar is just like an inch diameter, isn't it? So it might be even a 2 to 3 inch diameter, and it makes it so hard. So just standing there holding these kettlebells, I don't know if you were timing it or not, but I just saw you literally going red, making some weird noises and like vibrating. There was one point I swear your eyes rolled into the back of your head. I was like, that's when I said, "You're right there, mate."
Man, I don't know. I was in a different realm. I wasn't even in the room.
Yeah, that's
I was
fair. You
gone.
needed to be. Um,
Yeah.
But okay, guys, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly run over these. So if you want to take notes, then feel free. So day one, oh sorry, the first way, number one, to run a 6 day a week program would be push, legs, pull, and then times two. So you end up doing each day twice. You can do the same workout twice effectively, but you probably get a little bit more if you vary it slightly on that. Number two is push, pull legs with cardio mobility days. So day one would be push, day two would be cardio mobility, day three would be pull, day four would be cardio mobility, day five would be legs, and day six would be cardio mobility. And number three is full body with cardio mobility days, which would be the same as the push pull legs with cardio mobility, apart from the fact that days 1, 4, and no, 1, 3, and 5, sorry, would be a full body workout. Best example of that is a 5x5, but any variation of that would be good. I usually find that an A-B split would work best with that as well because you're going to hit the muscle groups twice a week with any 7 day period. Number four, and I would say this is probably a little bit more advanced for people who have been training a little bit harder, a little bit more intense for a little bit longer, is chest, back, legs, shoulders, arms, legs, which is, again, if done right, you are still going to hit muscle groups twice a week, but it is going to be quite intense for that whole session. And finally, the fifth one is hybrid, and that is going from strength the first half of the week to hypertrophy the second, hypertrophy or endurance the second half of the week. And we didn't actually talk about that properly. So what we mean by that is low reps, heavy weight for the first set of the week, first half of the week, and then going up into a more 8 to kind of 30 rep range for the hypertrophy endurance for the second half of the week.
Awesome. That's great. I mean, guys, get on that. If you want to try 6 days a week, give it a go. Get into that. If you're not really sure still about doing 6 days a week, then give us a message and we might be able to hook you up with a 6 day a week plan. But 6 days a week, as me and Jack are so rightly saying, is good, is great. If you want to get into it, you just got to do it right, do it smart.
Yeah, definitely. So, Josh. Go on, you're already smiling to yourself. What have you got for me today?
What goes in hard and dry but comes out soft and wet?
I don't know.
What's the first thing that came to your brain?
The first thing that came
Dirty
into my
bastard.
brain, no, the first thing that came into my brain was actually rock candy. You know, the big sticks of rock candy that you can get from
Mm.
seaside towns. That's what came into my head first. But I don't know. What have you got?
Chewing gum.
Ah, that's very true. Well, I was on the something sweet kind of line, so I'm going to give myself a pound back for that one. I got it.
Yeah. Also,
no,
also another quick one.
Go
It's
on.
I just read it and I really like it. What's the lesbian's favorite Pokemon?
Oh God. I don't know.
Squirtle.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Wait, because cancelled. We're cancelled, definitely.
Oh, fuck it.
It's all
Whatever.
good. Josh, where can they find us if they ever want to?
If you want to find us, guys, head to our Facebook group, The Lifting Lounge, to ask us any questions and that you want us to cover on the podcast. We are also on the RDA system on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and we're on YouTube at The Lifting Lounge. Come find us, do all the stuff.
Yes, please do all the stuff. Guys, do all the stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments, ask us questions. You can ask us questions about the episode on Spotify if you want to as well. You can leave comments on YouTube, and leave ratings, reviews, share, all of that jazz. This has been episode 73, and we will see you for episode 74.
Woo-hoo.
Whoop, whoop. Until next time, guys, have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.